In about 2 days' time, we will be able to say that Winter Storm Orlena dumped massive amounts of snow on both coasts, west coast to the east coast. You are watching the 5.5-day lifespan of this incredible storm, which is about to peak as a nor'easter in the northeast. Welcome back, everybody. January 31st, 2021, almost Groundhog Day, almost Nor'easter Day, and we're watching the entire cycle of this winter storm. I set this up so we could specifically watch the storm move coast to coast to get an idea of how these storms morph and are affected by other conditions surrounding them, the jet stream, the Atlantic Ocean, the Gulf of Mexico, and even another storm moving into the West Coast, Oregon, Washington, Northern California. So this is going to be a repeating cycle that unfortunately we may be dealing with until March. And I will explain why in just a second, but take a look at our updated county by county weather chart. We do have some stuff going on in the West Coast. As I said, another storm brewing just like Orlena. So we'll obviously track and see what goes on with that. But look at this, guys. 20 plus states under winter storm warnings or watches. Check that out. And the entire East Coast under gale force type wind issues. You can see all the way from the outer banks of the Carolinas. These wind events are going to take place all the way up the coast until and through February 2nd, to say the least. Really quick, before we get ahead of ourselves, I'm just going to go over the latest update on snowfall totals for this nor'easter. Now, this may change. This is why I don't really focus on the amount of snow. I give you an overall idea for the entire Northeast, not these specific areas. But as of right now, here is the CMC model. I have this and the GFS pulled up. We can see some slight differences here. Mostly New Jersey and Pennsylvania getting the bulk of this nor'easter snow. Again, this may change. I'm not making any guarantees on this whatsoever. That's what the meteorologists are for. But let's take a look at the CMC first with the more exaggerated storm ending here. So we see a number 29, 20, 21. This is that central eastern area of Pennsylvania, and you can see the difference with the GFS and the CMC is that snow kind of spans out over more of Pennsylvania and a broader area of northern New Jersey. But keep an eye on all these areas underneath it down towards Chesapeake Bay, Long Island as well. We got to understand that these are just estimation charts. We do not know how much snow is really going to fall. I'm sure within the interwebs, some of these forecasters got it right, as I have hundreds and hundreds of people on my Twitter that try to forecast these storms and are very good at it too. So we'll let them handle that part of it, and we will talk about the overall situation, and that is Winter Storm Orlena. We also talked briefly about discussing exactly what a nor'easter is and what is nor'easter season, and I have some information right here for you. A nor'easter is a storm that forms along the east coast of North America. Nor'easters are named after the direction from which the strongest winds typically blow over the northeast states, including New England and the mid-Atlantic states. The storms can bring wind, snow, rain, and flooding to these regions. So these do not take place just in the winter. They do take place in a set amount of time for the most part, and that is from about October through April. So about a 7-month season, and it kind of opposites hurricane season, which is very interesting as well. And also to give you an idea of how broad the season is, if you guys remember back in 2018, the month of March had 4 nor'easters every single week. In fact, they were every single Wednesday going into Thursday, the month of March in 2018, which was absolutely a record that still hasn't been broken yet, but it just gives you an idea that nor'easters can form this early in the year and then late in the year as winter ends as well in March. For those of you that don't remember, here is the info right here. March of 2018 nor'easters, check that out. Every single week without fail, the month of March had 4 nor'easters, 1 a week, back to back to back to back. Now, that's not to say that is exactly what's going to happen now, but it's just interesting to see that one nor'easter is about to peak and all the attention on it after a long 5.5-day storm. And now that this storm is forming in the Northeast at the exact same time, you need to look at the West to see the history repeating itself and another winter storm brewing along Oregon, Washington, and Northern California as well. We can use the GFS and the CMC to take a quick look into the future to see about these incoming storms. We won't get too much into detail about them, but I think it is important to stay somewhat informed. So once again, we have our nor'easter here, Orlena, currently targeting the Northeast, and now we're going to look a little bit into the future. Keep in mind, we already talked about the storm moving in on the west side of the country, and now we'll move forward in time and see what kind of effects we may be seeing. Now, this may be a double threat for the U.S. We see 3 low pressures, one centralized in Canada, one right on on the border near the Great Lakes and then one down in Mexico. All three of these will play a role in the upcoming weather. And now as we move forward, we see these two low pressures pop up. One kind of similar to where Orlena is now in that Carolina region, maybe the Chesapeake Bay. Still time for that to change and morph. And then a higher low pressure up here. We will see what happens. But nonetheless, another storm forming on the west coast and could turn into yet another nor'easter, as you can see right here, as early as February 7th. So that weekly cycle we may be seeing a little sooner than March. All right, my friends, as hard as it is to not look into the future and wonder about what's coming next, we still have to deal with what's right in front of us, and that is the nor'easter and winter storm Orlena. We will all very much see how many states this thing actually does affect. We need to just keep in mind that anyone that lives in the Northeast has to pay attention to a term called nor'easter by definition. And that is the info I will continue to bring to you guys. I like the overall info as opposed to the little details and stuff like that. Plus, it's much more interesting to forecast an entire storm than it is a little county. We have plenty of people to do that. So with that said, my friends, I hope everyone is safe. I hope everyone is prepared for this storm and what's to come after. If you have not already, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Every little bit helps. I appreciate each and every one of you. I will be back later on with updates. I will be updating through Twitter with charts and things like that, so stay tuned. I appreciate each and every one of you. Shout out to Canada. This is also your storm. I'll talk to you all very soon. Last day of January. Happy Groundhog's Day within the next 24 hours. We'll see what happens. Bye-bye.